I want to talk about your power, how you live in your power, how you express it in your business. And the way I'm going to do this is going to shred all these strategies that you've been taught to do in your business. This is such a shift. This is going to peel away all of the crap and lead you to your soul message. And I want to start this off with a kind of like a really personal story to kind of like show you where we get ourselves into and where we come from and what we believe and how that impacts everything around us, especially in our business. Because if you're watching this, you're here to self-actualize. And by doing that, you're going to take it a step further and have a business where you're working with people so that they can uncover who they are. So this is a big deal. Okay, so personal story. Let's get into this. Now, just to lay the groundwork here, I was like a young kid, let's say, about, close to 15. So this was like eons ago. And I was, of course, grounded. And you're going to wonder, what the hell does this have to do with me and business? But I'm going to get to this. Just wait. So I was grounded yet again for who knows what. I don't even remember. And I had this school assignment, and I don't know exactly what the assignment was, but I think it was about Mother's Day. And if you've watched any of my videos, I have mentioned that I had like the worst relationship with my mother ever. It was very turbulent, very chaotic, she was unstable. Everything was unstable. So nothing was safe. So in this particular incident that I wanted to get into, it was about writing something about your mother. And at this point, I was freaking angry. Oh, I was so mad. I was grounded again. And so I started writing this thing. I was like, whatever I was saying, it was just pure anger. I was so angry. I was grounded. I was angry about a lot of things. Believe me, there was so much to be angry about. And I wrote that all out. I just wrote it all out, and I was going to give it to her, and I was going to hand it in and let it be. And then I got thinking, somehow my 14, 15-year-old self was so wise. I didn't even see it. But instead of actually handing that in and giving that to her and getting a mark and then, likely getting the crap beat out of me, what I did instead was I wrote about the mother that I always wanted to have. Because I didn't have that. So I wrote this. And I wrote this from such a place, like, I didn't even know it existed. And it existed, but I didn't know it. So I wrote about her, about the mother that I really wished I had. And I left it at that. And so I can't remember if I handed it in, if I got graded on it. But I do remember handing it to my mother. And she took that. Didn't say anything. Like, she read it in front of me. There was no reaction. She took it, went upstairs to her bedroom and put it away. So a little time goes by. I'm thinking nothing of it. Well, actually, I probably was more choked that she didn't say anything about it. And because emotions were not welcomed. They were not allowed to be expressed in my household. So this is why I do the work that I do, is because they're so important. They were very triggering for her when I had any kind of emotions. So there was this time, like, we had this major blow up, a fight. I'm not even sure what it was, but I was old enough that I was starting to get a little bit of a mouth on me, and I was getting a little bit of a backbone. And whatever she did, I stood up, fought back. And it was some kind of a blowout. I don't remember the details, but what I do remember the most of it was, and believe me, this woman was tough as nails. She was tough. You didn't dare mess with her. She would shred you. I heard people saying that, like, you don't mess with your mother, she'll shred you. Have you seen her nails? Like, literally. And she never cried, ever. She was so tough. So she goes upstairs after this blowout, and she comes back down and she hands me this piece of paper, and here it was, what I had written about what I wanted, what I truly desired in a mother, what I really wanted and what I needed. And she gave it back to me. She was, I don't even know what she said. Maybe she said, I don't need this. But in the moment that she freaking gave that to me, she was actually crying. I'm like, what? Like, I did not have like any comprehension to even understand what was happening here. I had no idea. She was crying and giving this back to me. And I was like, no, I don't want this. This is for you. I made this for you. And I left it at that. And then shortly after that, things really went south. And here we are today. But that's a story for another day. So everything that's led up to this video to exemplify like everything that's going on, like when you're in business, this is all about like your energy, how you operate, everything. And that moment, like when I look back on that moment, I had no idea what this even meant. But I want to add another layer here. I had this dream. And this dream was quite fascinating because in this dream, to me, like I was dreaming lots about water, and water is very like the emotional element. And so this dream had lots of water in it, and I was just like, what is happening in this dream? It was so magical. Things were happening like I couldn't even foresee happening. Like things would move in places that you would never think that they could move. Like going down a narrow hallway that you'd never think that you could get through. But when your excitement and your emotion and the water goes through it, all of a sudden things just like open up into like something beyond magical. Like this dream was absolutely magical. And to me, it spoke to me and it said, my emotions are actually the freaking magic. They are the source. They are the purity of everything. And I was like, wow, I really, really understand this. Like, I really feel alive here. Emotions truly are the superpower that we have been taught to dismiss. And it was very exciting for me to tap into this, to really get the depth and the scope of what this actually means. And so when I come back to this moment, when I use that magic of the emotions, I didn't see it then, but I want you to see this now. In that moment, when I gave my mother that letter of the mother that I truly wanted, what I was doing is I was tapping into the part of me that really felt this, that was the depth of me. Even as like a 14, 15-year-old, there was depth there. And so when I tapped into that depth, and I wrote purely from my heart, it had such the power to crack through and seep in there and get to her heart of hearts. I realized that my emotions are actually, without a doubt, my superpower. If true, pure, heartfelt emotions can crack through a heart like that, it's our superpower. By every possible way, they are our superpower. And so I wanted to bring this to you because in our business, in our entire life, we have been taught to believe that our emotions are garbage. They're shit. Don't listen to them. They don't mean anything. We're nuts. We're crazy. And so I went about my life believing that. And then I ended up, now feel with me if this is your case too. Like if there's a moment in your life where you did something from your heart that really impacted another person that you in ways that you never even saw coming, because honestly I didn't even know this was a possibility, but you lived in the energy of proving, because this is what I'm talking about here. I just want to connect the dots to make it go a little deeper for you. I lived in the energy of proving that I was worthy. I was worth something, and I was doing everything I could to get my mother to notice. And so I lived in this energy my entire life. I built everything off of this. I was proving everything. I remember actually saying that I was so determined I was going to be better than her that I have 3 freaking like degrees now, like proving energy. You see what I'm saying here? The strategies that we use to operate our business, and I'm no different because I did the same thing. It was proving energy. We're proving something to someone that we are worthy. And I'm here to tell you that you actually are worthy. You are. And I wanted to tell you that story about giving my mother this gift to show you and bring you into that moment, like right now, how powerful your emotions actually are. And it's so important because when I realized, like, holy shit, my emotions actually are that powerful. They are the elixir of life. They have the power to crack open the hardest of hearts ever. And it's not my intention to actually work with people whose hearts that are so freaking hard that I need to do this to crack them open. That's not my job. My job here is to bring you the medicine to help you open up even more. This is a movement. We're done with that other shit that we used to do before. All these other strategies that people tell us that we need to do, it's not working because they're not supposed to work. We're peeling all of that away. It's done. We need to be able to tap into that powerful place within us to create the life that we have envisioned, to go to that place where we have to do this. Because if you're anything like me, and if you're watching my videos, you are like me. This is a calling that you have to do. This is such a deep felt sense that you have to discover who you are. And it's another layer of like more challenge going and doing this through your soul-led business. And I feel like this is so important. Like when we actually understand, we don't have to prove anything to anyone. What we're actually doing is we're hanging on to something where we don't want to leave anybody behind. And that's what I was doing. I was hanging on to, I don't want to leave her behind. When what I really needed to do is let that shit go and actually have the deep sense and the deep awareness that my emotions actually are freaking powerful. Now let that sink in. Your emotions are that powerful that you can get into any place. It is not your job to filter how you feel or your emotions. It is not your responsibility on how they land. Because when I see my mother crying, that was not my responsibility. All I had to do was just be me. Be me. My emotions, how I felt, my heart's desires. And that did the job. I didn't have to do anything, nothing. I just wrote from my heart. I did not do anything. My energy, my essence, my emotions landed in a way that I could have never have seen. And so that does away with all the proving energy because it just has to. This isn't proving energy. This is being led. I have to cough as things are clearing out. This is being led by your heart. This is the revolution. This is being led by your soul and your desires, which is a revolution. Because when we don't pack around that proving energy, that doubting energy, and all of that other stuff that gets us stuck and frozen and spinning our wheels, it ends all of that. The gift that I gave her was something so powerful I know she never forgot it because I've never forgotten it. It's been so long. And it's such a realization to come back to that moment and actually realize, whoa, like sit in that and realize your power. Don't run from it. This is your superpower. This is what we're here to do, to tap into that. And if somebody would have said to me, yeah, you remember that moment when, like this happened and you touched her so much that she actually cried? And guess what? You actually are that powerful. It would have like changed my entire life from like this 15-year-old kid, this young growing woman that believed she was so inadequate that she was not going to amount to anything, that she was useless. And basically I was told I was useless and the only thing I was good for was to be, essentially a prostitute. That would have changed everything. But I hung on to the hope that I was so determined I was going to be better than her. I was going to prove that, oh yeah, I'm better than you. My life is going to be better. Can you feel the difference here? So it's funny how things come to us. And it's funny how this video came to be, that this video is about you, and your business does not need to be louder. It needs to be more you. More you in every way that you possibly can. And it'll shatter all of the other shit that you're trying to do to, grow, expand, reach the right people. You don't have to do anything but tap into this and your message will land. It will land with the right person at the right time. It's all about trust. And the moment you stop trying, because that's what's happening here, we're trying. The moment you stop trying to be successful is the moment that you are successful. And my story of my mother and my words and my emotion just spearheaded right in there is not only proof for myself, but for you to realize that, you know what, it's actually okay. We can tap into this. We can go there. We can just trust ourselves, what our heart is really saying. That it's safe. It's absolutely safe. There isn't anything that anybody can ever do to touch you in your business. And if it's too much for people, they're not your people. It's perfectly fine. Like, I know when I touched her like that on that deep level, I do not want to work with a woman like that. That's a given. My message is not meant for a person like that. And if it does happen that I crack somebody open and then evolve and grow, well, hallelujah. But that's not my job. I don't need to worry about where my emotions are going to land. And it's not your job either. We're not here to hold them, make sure that they come along. That's their journey. And so I think that this video is so super important in so many ways. My dream, like really, really honing in the magic that lives here, like it just blows me away. Like, I'm in this dream and I'm thinking, okay, like I was like my actual self now, like at the age I'm at. And there was like a young guy, like so interested. And it was just like everything involved the water. And I'm like, what is happening here? How could a young guy be interested in me? And I don't even know like what that means. Like, it wasn't like anything else outside of like this magical bond. It was just like incredible. I was so blown away, and it stuck in my mind when I woke up in the morning and I'm like, wow, that was like something else. Emotions are that magical. When you allow that to go through wherever it needs to go through, it expands everything. It is so freaking magical. I can't even describe it to you. But if you can feel how my words would have landed on a closed off heart and how she started crying, like that was so profound. Like, and I honestly never saw that then. I was just way too immature to realize the scope of what was happening there. But how different life would be if I had have followed through with that choice of actually writing something so angry and so hateful to her And then making the choice to actually tap into what I really felt. It's profound. So this brings me to another point here that I think is really valid. So if you're feeling that sense of frustration or the sense of proving or anything like that, any doubt, anything like that, I want you to pause and just notice that there's something else here waiting for you. There's something deeper. And the frustration that you feel on the surface level, and like maybe the anxiety or whatever it is, the doubt, inadequacy, sit with that. There's a message here. It's asking you to go deeper, because honestly, when you look at my story about how I felt so inadequate my entire life, a complete failure, I couldn't do anything right. Like, this was the story that I was handed, and all I'm good for is, that's a story. Especially when you hone in on the fact that I pierced something so hard and so cold. Sit in that power. Realize, feel it. You are that powerful. And water and emotions are not meant to be, of course, they flood things. Of course, we know that. But when we bottle shit up, that's what happens. We flood the landscape and then everybody runs, right? When you contain your emotions and use them as the powerhouse that you are, your business is going to change. It is going to change. It has to. And it's maybe slow growth. It may be fast. I don't know. It depends on the flow of it. It's so hard to know. But all I know is things always happen in a way that could never be seen. Never. They're powerful. And I want you to feel this and own it. That your business doesn't need to be louder. Remember this, it doesn't need to be louder. It needs to be more you. And I've said this like a million times. Your business is missing you. And that was where I was going wrong, is that I did not bring all of me into my business before. When I tried all these other things, I was bringing the proving energy. And when you see how much you're actually trying to prove and, not feel inadequate and, you're looking for validation and from that person that you're never going to get it from, it comes down to you. It really does. Yeah. It's such a powerful feeling to know when you sit in that spot that it's okay to go there. It's not scary. I mean, maybe, like initially, if I had realized it, maybe I would have been overwhelmed. Like if I would have seen that as a 15-year-old, for sure, it's overwhelming. It's a lot. But now, we're ready for it. I know you're ready for it because this is part of it. This is the freaking movement. This is what I'm here for. Is own the emotional superpower that we have. And this is why I've created my emotional luxury experience. And I've talked about this like so much over the last month. Like it came to me in like January of this year of 2025. And it's been percolating and stewing and growing and going deeper. And I'm like, I thought it would have been like ready to go like a long time ago, but it's still marinating. And I'm like so blown away that this has become like my baby. And I'm excited to offer it to you. And I will be announcing it because I'm so excited about this. It's like I follow this rhythm and this cycle. It's like, okay, this is coming through. This needs to go in. And then it goes in and then it rests and it settles and then it comes back and it's like, okay, now I know why this piece needed to land. So it's one of these things where you don't see how your emotions is going to impact, but it does in some way, in some magical way. So bring you to the table. Forget about all this other nonsense because this is your light switch. And I just see a light right here. So I'm like, this is your light switch. This is going to change everything in your life, everything in your business, everything the way that you move. This is going to change everything. This is going to change like your money, how you feel about money. Because if we're in the proving energy, we're chasing things. We're doing everything we can to chase that thing that we think we want, but in actuality is not going to do shit for us. You can chase it, and let's say you get a bunch of money, then out it goes. The chasing, the proving, all of that is done. We got to get rid of it. It's got to go because it's not getting us anywhere. Your emotions are going to take you places like so far beyond magical. It's going to blow your mind. My mind is blowing because I didn't see this. And I've been talking about this for like years. I've been diving into my own emotions. I'm deeply fascinated by how emotions impact our body. You know, I studied acupuncture so I can understand this more. Like, I love this stuff. It's so exciting for me to dive into this. I always say, I keep seeing this on my wall that's behind here, and it says no self-censorship. This is it. This is no self-censorship. This is where you bring all of you to the table, and it doesn't matter who doesn't like it. Who cares? This is your super freaking power, and I want you to own it. I want you to freaking own it. And so today, I want you to find the moment, like I did, where you recognize, okay, I did this thing and I didn't see the impact right away, but I seen the impact of it maybe later, and just sit with that feeling and recognize how pure those emotions were, how you felt when you did the thing that you did and you gave it to somebody else. And sit in that place and recognize, wow, you know what? I really am freaking powerful. And it may feel like you're not going to be able to believe it right away because you're like, what? That? Really? Was it that powerful? Sit with it. Just sit with it. Don't run away from it. Sink into it. Feel it deeper. Go there. Don't run. Don't get up and go to the bathroom. Don't get distracted. Just be with that moment and feel that when you did something from your heart and how that impacted them, feel that, because that is you. That's what you're here to do. So it's pretty hard to really take you into that in a video. I know I had talked about my emotional luxury experience. That's totally one way to do it. Of course, there's other ways we can go into this. I live for this stuff. I live to find the gold nuggets and to find those places of power where we have forgotten. We've seen it, we've tasted it, we've felt it, and yet we've forgotten. We don't see it, we don't recognize it. And so I hope this video has brought this to you today so that you could recognize your own freaking magical superpowers. It's not anything to be dismissed. It is like your magic wand. It can go places that you can't even possibly imagine. I can't even describe it to you because I don't know where your emotions are going to take you. But I do know that when you bring that to the table in your business, it's like you're quiet but loud. You don't have to scream into the audience or the crowd. Your quiet presence changes everything. This is like, it feels so rebellious to just like, I don't know what the word is for it. It's like quiet marketing. Is that like a thing? To allow your emotions to lead the way is definitely a quiet revolution. It is like quiet power, if you will, because you're not like throwing it out there for the masses. You're her, that one, her. And that's how we're creating this revolution. We're changing one woman at a time, one heart at a time, helping women recognize their own freaking God-given, inherent, innate power. You were born with it. It's there. I know it's there. You're not inadequate. You're not like a failure, not by any stretch. You're only just getting freaking started. We're going to do this, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to change everything. So I better end this here because I feel like I could just like go down every rabbit hole with this one. So I'd love to hear your takeaways. I will for sure announce when this emotional luxury experience is available. I just added some of my own personal stories in here to really exemplify some of the ways that we trip ourselves up in here. And I think these stories are really powerful. They're simple, and yet they show you how these things play out in our lives. And I've given you a way to actually experience it for yourself. And I think that's so important because we need to know, we need freaking absolutely to know how we are feeling, how these feelings are impacting us, and where we're kind of like off the mark. Because they're always guiding us. It's just whether we're listening to it or not. And if we're like filtering these emotions through some story like inadequacy, you can see the impact of that. Like everything is going to be having this story in there of like inadequacy, and that's not what we're here to do. I mean, if that was working, we'd all be successful, right? So it doesn't work anymore. What is working is the pure essence of who you are. That is what's going to work. That is working. That is the magic. That other strategy, do it this way, you'll get 6 figures, whatever the strategy is not it. It used to be, but it's not anymore. And you know that things are changing. And, there's a lot of people out there trying to figure this out. They don't know how to do this anymore. But what we really need to be is our authentic self. Absolutely, without any baggage, without dragging anybody around, without dragging some story around. It's all about you. So I'm going to finish this off by reminding you again, your business does not need to be louder. It needs to be you. And your life needs you. So even if you're not in a business or you're thinking of a business or whatever the case may be, your life needs you. Your energy, your emotions, all of that. This is like the missing key, the missing element to everything in your life. Those pure emotions that you feel. They're gold. They're absolute gold. Pure and pure. Money can't buy this. And people will be drawn to you. Opportunities will be drawn to you based off of this. You don't know the impact you're going to have. I didn't know. Can you imagine? I had no idea. No idea. But they're so powerful. It completely shatters this whole inadequate thing. If you can see yourself and how your emotions impacted another, that's your power right there. That's how you access it, is by sinking into that feeling, feeling that feeling, remembering, oh, wow, yeah, I actually am. I am powerful. Repeat that to yourself. When you feel this, I am powerful. And don't forget it. Remember, feel it. Because once you feel it, and you feel it in your bones, you're never going to forget it. You can't forget it. You can't unsee this. You can't. So anyway, I have to end this video. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me and watching my videos. I love it and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you on the next video.